capacity, the sector has 406.
Just a minute, Governor.
Yeah.
The 313 is the budget allocated for 25-26.
Yes.
What percentage of your budget? Because the law allows 2%.
What percent was this? Must be lower. Let me just calculate quickly. 313, 28.
Is that what you have allocated or what you have used?
This is the last
financial
year.
Yeah.
This is actual utilization.
Mm-hmm.
The allocation was bigger. I can get the number. The budget was like 39 billion. Yeah, so this is...
And also, Chief, what is the total budget for construction of the Komba fire station?
61 million. Around 60 million.
60 million?
Yeah. That is like a standard fire station. Because you have the parking bays, you have quarters for people to sleep.
No, I'm asking because I want to just compare with what my county is spending to construct a fire station. That's what I'm asking you.
Okay.
Not for any other reason.
Yeah.
So you have utilized 313 out of the budget allocated?
Yes, in the last financial year.
Now, did you submit your financial report to OAG? Because that is the area we have a lot of challenges.
Yes.
With all the counties.
Yeah, we did the audited. You know, the audit all our departments, including this one. In fact, in the audit queries, nothing was anything touching on disaster management. There was no query on it. If I'm to remember right, because I was at Public Accounts Committee. And
I think there were only 2 counties that submitted their report. That was Katana, which county?
Tana River and the Wajir.
But which report is it?
Just your budget.
Or to
The
you?
purpose, yes, to OAG.
No, OAG. You see, when you do an entry meeting of audit, we have all the sectors. You have roads, you have water, you have disaster as well. So it is not done separately on its own. The Auditor General audits the all departments, including fire and disaster.
That's okay, but according to our investigation as a committee, the specific areas we have a lot of challenges is on procurement.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you need to look into that in future. Basically, most of the counties are not following the procurement procedures as far as disaster management equipment are concerned. Then patches of the equipments. There are a lot of challenges also. Maybe you need to look into that.
That is why we moved to leasing.
Yeah.
Because I'll give an example. One fire engine, fully equipped, comes to how much? Around 80-something million. One.
For patches?
Yeah. But currently, I'm getting 10. As part of a wider leasing, where I'm getting 600 different vehicles, you know, tippers, machinery, etc., for 600 million annually. So if you compare 600 million, if I was just to buy the 10 fire engines, I'd have surpassed it, and I've not gotten vehicles for any other department. But now I'm getting for all departments, including revenue, ambulances, around 20 ambulances, and 10 for disaster, enforcement vehicles, environment, tippers, mobility, refuse compactors at 600 million. Yet it would have been surpassed by just 10 fire engines at 80 times 10, you know. So I think counties need to make those lease versus buy analysis and see what is the best value for money. Because what the people want is the service provided. So you rather pay for the service. And in fact now it is even cheaper for me because once these fire engines come, the maintenance cost is on the...
How much do you pay for a lease per month? Are you doing per month or per year?
It's per year, yeah.
So I think maybe you need to look at both.
Yeah.
Leasing and also buying.
We will
and whether we are getting value for money. Yeah. That's the most important thing. And again, the service provided by the same equipments.
Yeah.
So if you do the two together,
Yeah.
then it will be better.
Leasing is better. I would encourage all counties to lease. You don't need to own. You know, I keep saying, if you want to have breakfast and you want a sausage, you don't need to buy a pig to have a sausage. Just buy the sausage. Because why do you want to own the equipment and then spend money in maintenance and in, it becomes a whole, yet you can just lease it. If it breaks down, they take it and bring you another one. So it's value for money, Chair. And we've done that analysis. I'd be happy to
Members,
provide.
do you have anything? Any interventions on this one?
I'm just wondering how do you share your roles with the national government? Because what does the question say about disaster management?
Disaster management is a shared function.
I think it's actually under the national.
No, and if you look at the fourth schedule,
Fourth
Senator,
schedule should be paragraph 24.
Disaster management is really, in fact, it should be more devolved than it is right now.
Maybe we can check what fourth schedule, paragraph 24 says.
What does the Act say, Moses? Is it a shared?
If you look at the fourth schedule, it's shared.
It's a shared function.
So how do they, that's what I'm asking, how do you, because everything now, it seems like it's the county doing, and what we have been debating, Chair, that
Yes.
resources should follow functions.
Yeah.
So if everything, the way I've heard is being done by the county, then really why should any money remain in the national government? But you can check what fourth schedule states.
You're speaking my language.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the work.
Because if we audit what you are doing, we need to also do an audit on what national government is doing. It's a shared function, Chair. So that when
Governor, you have set a committee to look into disaster.
Yes.
You
Yeah,
have
actually, our
promoted-
disaster management council.
The national government is part of our team.
Yes. They have the second people on ad hoc basis from NDOC. What's the name of this gentleman? Kanut Samoei.
we don't have a constitution.
Moses, just look at the constitution.
Paragraph 24 says national government disaster management. That is part 1 of the fourth schedule. Part 2 of the fourth schedule on county government.
Moses, give it.
Paragraph number 12 says fire fighting services and disaster management, meaning it's a concurrent function.
So now that's what I say.
Yeah.
You need to understand how you're sharing these functions, because
Yeah.
if we say national government as a function and they are doing nothing, and the major work is being done by counties.
Whenever you have disaster,
Yeah.
do they chip in? The national
When
government?
Could
called
you share
upon.
these roles?
When called upon?
When called upon, because we're the first responders. Sometimes when we're stretched is when we call them. But I think there needs to be service level agreements between both levels, because we are paying for everything. We are paying for everything, including disasters within national government properties. And I think we even have to respond to disasters within, like, AP camp, And
So in essence, you are telling us, national government does not do firefighting at all.
no,
The
not
city
at all.
of Nairobi.
Not at all.
I think these are issues we should address.
Yeah, it's important.
That role is assigned to them as
You want
a
to say
shared
something?
function.
I think there's an officer who wants to say something.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Indeed, firefighting is largely...
Just give us your name again for Hansa
Yeah,
purpose.
Chair. My name is Bramwell Simeo, the County Chief Officer in charge of disaster management and coordination. What the legal framework that His Excellency has championed in terms of the policy and the bill does is also to try and provide clarity in terms of the levels of engagement. So when you look at our policy and our bill, we have what we call level 1, emergencies, which the county has capacity to respond to. Level 2, where we may need additional support from KDF or NYS. Level 3 is where we say it goes national, where we need the support from external partners. And level 4 is international, such as a bomb blast, where we require external. So what our framework has done is try to provide clarity in terms of where we need to trigger national support, and that we do through the.
So what will they do at level 3? Just
So
for us to
level 3, what
understand.
we do, I'll give you an example, such as the Miradi fire we had in Embakasi, where our capacity was stretched, and we needed support from KDF and the NYS. So what you normally do is to engage with Colonel Samoei at NDOC, then he mobilizes national government support to come in and support.
But Senator Nyamira is right, because it cannot be in a subjective basis, on the fly.
No.
There needs to be a proper framework.
Structured.
We're doing it at our level, but I think at the national level, this committee needs to champion that, even as an addendum to the law that has been passed, in terms of the resources that will go to the counties. Because the counties do 90% of the work. Most of the disasters do not reach level 3, or a bomb blast, or once in 10 years kind of level of flooding. That doesn't happen every day. But every single day, in fact, I'm in the WhatsApp group. This morning at 4 a.m. I saw, where was there fire? Just this morning at 4, I was looking at it. Every day, we deal with it, but we don't get the resources commensurate to the challenge that the counties have, Chair. And that is where the Senate needs to come in strongly to support us.
I think the national government should have a structured system in place for the purpose of disaster preparedness. And again, maybe they need to tell us how much budget is utilized for that purpose, so that it's a shared, function whenever there is an emergency.
With the experience we have had, they should cede more money to counties on disaster management.
But the level 3, the chief officer is talking about, automatically they are supposed to come in.
Automatically?
Yeah. Like what you have experienced with the floods. Sometimes you can be overwhelmed, and you need their support.
But and you see, the problem is that the citizens will never call them. They don't know how to get them. So any disaster they call us, and that's what happens.
I think we need to work together so that we can come up with a structured system that is put in place. So that whenever there is that kind of level 3 intervention, we have a team that is already put in place. We have budget for it, and we move in to save lives and maybe give support that is required. So that is maybe what we need to do, even if it is an amendment to the current legislation that we have. So maybe Moses, you need to look into that and see how we can be able to intervene.
So I can give a quick example from the WhatsApp group. Sunday at Edelville Secondary School, fire. Following that, Chair, there was, where was this? Italy, mixed-use apartment in Muratina, Isili, 14-story, LPG gas fire. Of course, we responded, and when they keep alerting you, dumping down is going on, what is happening. And then immediately after that, Umoja Zone D had a fire. This is the same day. Then yesterday, Lavington, Amboseli, it happened. The same time that one is being sent, there's another incident, Madare North driving. Now, we're going to the next question of the number of engines I have. As that is happening, Amboseli house fire out on arrival, members of the public really helped, but they get upset because they're like, why are we doing it? You're the one who should be doing it. They don't understand that Madare also has a fire at the same time, so as Umoja. Right now, actually, an hour ago, while we were sitting here, there's a fire in Dandora, phase 4. It happened that the alert came at 9:05. The team was there by 9:10. Fortunately, we've completely extinguished it, and the vehicles are going for refill. So it's something that happens throughout, and I think the public needs to. I take the blame that we haven't sensitized as much as we can on how we can mitigate before it happens, but that's the reality.
I mean, taking that example, were all your vehicles full capacity? Because you have read about 5-6 incidents.
Committed fully. So now, when that happens, is when now we call the noise police to send here. We call Nairobi water. When they go, they just have water. They don't have the firefighting equipment, which is why now I'm getting 10 more engines. And if you could afford, we'd have every sub-county having an engine stationed there, or 2. So we have 34 engines, 2 per sub-county, but they can deploy within the ward. That would be ideal, Chair. It's just budgetary constraint, but that would be ideal. And so if we go Senator Omogeni's way, and the function follows, the finance follows the function, we can be able to achieve it in a year. Yeah. Chair, the next question was on staff establishment.
I think the Secretariat, we need to invite the national government and the relevant department so that we can iron out the concerns we have just raised. Immediately. But I think, Governor, if you replicate what is in Vancouver, with the help of the national government, that will fully support you, because Nairobi is a city.
Chair, right now we're trying to use the cooperation agreement framework to see what additional support can be done. I'm happy that based on the affordable housing, we're getting more stations where the housing is being done. In fact, I was discussing with the PS because there's one they're doing in, next to Mama Lucy. And so I've asked them to also put some support to Kangundo Road, the fire station, to enhance its capacity. Because you can imagine, like Mukuru has, is it 9,000 households? 14,000. 14,000 people together. There was a fire a few months ago on the, which floor was it? 7th floor. And no one knew how to respond to it.
Is that arrangement formalized? Like they do 14,000 and they must do a fire station. Is it part of the approvals from the city, the county government of Nairobi?
We put that now as a standard. That
So before you
beyond
give
this,
an approval,
beyond this quantity of people, there
That's
must
a
be a fire
condition.
station, a school, and a level 4 hospital. And they're complying, Chair. In fact, some of the ones that had already gone ahead, they're trying to do redesigns to now bring in the fire station, because you don't want to imagine the disaster. And this is especially people who have not lived in apartments. You know, they're used to living on one floor. The panic. People would stumble on each other. There'd be stampedes and all that. But also we're telling them to input firefighting equipment. You know, this sprinkler system, as well as fire alarms. Remember, people are moving into these houses. Some still cooking with kerosene.
Or charcoal.
Yeah. Remember also, we have done piped gas. Now, if you don't know how to use piped gas, which is why we're doing the training, it's very volatile. And you can have a fire. So it's really, I'm just trying to tell you the urgency of that. Chair staff establishment, we have 406 staff members. They're distributed across fire and rescue services, disaster risk reduction, emergency services. 406 sounds big, but it's a very small number.
Yeah.
Very small. When you're serving 7 million people,
You're looking at the population.
yeah, we have 7 million people during the day and 5 at night in Nairobi. 5.5 million at night, 7 during the day. They go back now to Kiambu, Kajiado, Rongai, etc. Chair, I really would want to appeal to Senate at some point. You know, this ratio that is set by control of budget and Director General cannot apply in a service county. Nairobi is a service county. Nairobi is a service county. Because of the number of people, you need more personnel. I only have 19,000 staff. 19,000 staff serving 7 million people. One hospital, for instance, Mama Lucy, has 1,200 staff members. Mama Lucy on its own, which is more than some entire counties staffing. Mama Margaret in Kariobangi North needs 1,500 staff. Why I'm not able to fully operationalize it is because if I do that, then the control of budget will not approve, and the report will be that we're spending money on salaries. But in Nairobi, you need to be served. You need to see people sweeping your street. You need doctors, you need nurses, it's a service county. It's not an infrastructure heavy county as others are. And so that, you know, when you brought evolution, it was so that we don't have a one-size-fits-all approach. The kind of staffing requirements in Nandi or in Isiolo or in Nyamira are different from what you need in a capital city. So Chair, that is something that I'm still grappling with. So I've attached the organogram. The organogram of the staff establishment. Of course, we have the CC, who's at the policy level. The CC is assisted now by the Chief Officer, Bramwell Simiyu, who is here. Of course, administration and support cuts across. We have a Director of Disaster Risk Reduction. That is a new department that we brought in. It was not there before. Because for a long time, disaster was only seen as fire in Nairobi. we're not proactive in terms of early warning signs, looking ahead as to what you need to do. There's a deputy director as well of training, research and development, and these are the ones who will now lead the Center of Excellence on Disaster Management. Then you have a Director of Fire Rescue Services, a Deputy Director of Fire Rescue Services, and so it goes that way. Prevention and mitigation is also, a department that we have. Response and recovery, and then the DMOs. So these disaster management officers are in each and every sub-county. Are we going to the what?
Not just sub-counties.
Not yet. So then the sub-counties. So each sub-county has a DMO whose work every day is to spot risk, to help mitigate, to coordinate training. In the event a disaster happens, they're the ones who now give us the records. These are the number of households affected. This is the need that we have. This is how we come in. The DMOs have really changed how we deal with it. Because before, you could imagine if a fire happens, you will call the chief or the DCC. You know how they used to behave. They increase the numbers. They say it is 1,000 people, or it was 500. You give them relief food, it doesn't get to the people or Mabati. But the DMOs have been very professional. And they work also with the local leadership of the community. And then culminating to the MCA. And so by the time we get two parallel reports, I get a report from the DCC, and now I also get a report from my DMOs. I can verify and see where there is, for instance, this one for Ikomba, I had two lists. One list had 16,000 people. The next one had 2,000 people. Now the 2,000 people was genuine because I could verify those are the people who pay cess to the county because they're in my system. But you found they were told each of you had 5 people, your dependents. So of course the only people you can come in and help are the 2,000 who pay cess to the county, because those are the ones who are recognized to be operating there legally. But the ones you've sublet small spaces, the county has no contractual obligation unless it's just humanitarian assistance to them. So Chair, from the 46312.
So that means it's not properly coordinated. To complement each other. National government is doing that.
Yeah.
You're also doing the same.
Yeah, and sometimes they overstep. You'll see a CS calling you saying, Nenda Kibira kupeana mchele. I'm like, who told you mchele is what they need? And they just go and give things. And so we said, let it be coordinated. Let us have a way in which, we can see what is the real need of the Mwananchi. Somebody who has lost their house, lost everything, including documentation. You give them a bag of rice, they have no sufuria even to cook. So you're giving them rice, what are they going to do with it? But you see what we do, and I'm very happy that we have dish in a county. I have the capacity to produce 300,000 meals in a day. And so we give them a hot meal, but we look at how to recover and how to help them get back to starting. So the old system of kama kuna moto, take rice and beans and whatnot, it doesn't make sense, Chair. So anyway, I was at the staff establishment.
So does that mean you have maybe a store where you can actually purchase things for preparedness? Or
Yeah.
you only purchase based on the emergency that occurs?
No, we have a store in Gigiri. At the Gigiri station, there's a store where if you go, you'll find iron sheets in the container, you'll find blankets, you'll find foodstuffs, you'll find
Blankets?
Yeah, blankets, mattresses that are there. Of course, they run out so quickly, and so we keep trying to replenish. But, Chair, if you look at the global convention, and we deal with global conventions, including the Sendai framework on disaster management, people are moving to cash transfers. That is what Red Cross is now implementing. The cash transfer gives people more dignity, because it doesn't make sense. A family of 6 have had a fire, you're giving them one mattress for who will use the mattress, who will not use the mattress, where will they take the mattress? But when you give people financial resources, they can relocate on their own. They can go buy some clothes. They will know the size. If I just bring clothes, I don't know whether someone is fat or thin or tall or short.
So are you planning to implement that? Because
Yes.
I think that is more dignified
Yeah.
than giving a mattress, a sufuria,
Yeah.
which might not be required at that particular time.
Yes.
But if you give me 5,000, I can be able to buy food and something else.
And you can determine, sorry Chair, I'm just responding to a message, these people up there calling, let's say Senate. It is better for the citizen to make a choice.
Other jurisdictions are doing the same.
Yes, other jurisdictions are doing the same. Even within Africa, South Africa is doing the same, and I think Namibia, Egypt, Morocco. I don't know if they see them. During World Cup, they weren't really saying the Africa, but Morocco. And the Western countries have moved to that.
So when are you implementing for Kenya?
So for us, the policy is there in terms of that's what we want to do. We are signatories as a country to the Sendai framework. For me now, it's just resources. It's just resources. Because we have the system, once the DMO has identified the people, we can send electronically the resources. Of course, you know, politicians at all levels would want to be seen coming with mattresses and bags of beans, etc. But that really is removing dignity from people. That or mama umepiga laini or patiwe chakula, I don't like it. It's not dignifying. You'd rather they just get the message on the phone, and we send to the women, not the fathers. Yeah, for you to reach the family, the women are proven to be more reliable. I'm not discriminating. I think we understand the woman thinks of the children and the entire household.
I hope you will apply the same to politics also.
I love the women. They're the most reliable people you can have.
Okay.
So yeah, the biggest constraint is resources. It is really resources. Because sometimes, you want to put money in a fund, but you have urgent, immediate needs that need to be sorted out. Your salaries, your allowances, and so that ring fencing is what will help us leave the temptation of going into that, disaster. What it's supposed to be. Chair, let me go to, if you allow me, I can. Let me talk about qualifications, Chair, because there's been a big hula baloo around that.
Qualification, that will be on which page now?
It's now page 6, page 7.
Page 7.
About the senior officers. And Chair, we must separate the issue of senior officers and the hands-on officers. The senior officers, if you start with the Director of Fire and Rescue Services, has a Bachelor of Science in Disaster and Emergency. But because of doing it in apprenticeship for so many years, they know exactly how to do it practically. I have one director whose father was in the fire, the chief fire officer. He is there, and his son also now joined. It's like a calling, being a firefighter. If you look at the US, people want to, a firefighter is so respected. If you're a firefighter or you're in the NYPD. And so some of those you find are downgraded because they may not have a master's, they may not have a bachelor's degree, but they are the people who can sort out, can climb 10 floors, and they know how to deal with the smoke, they know how to carry people properly. And so I think recognition of prior learning or recognition of practical skills and experience needs to be, recognized by the SRC, because that person will probably do much more than someone who's left school, with a degree on fire. Because fire is not theory. Fire is actually practical and day to day.
So these trainings are offered locally.
Yes.
Universities.
Technical university have it. More university. The Assistant Director of Fire has a BSc as well disaster. The Director of Disaster Risk Reduction, which is one of the novel areas we're looking at, has a Master's in Disaster Management and Sustainable Development, and then the BSc in Disaster Management. The Assistant Director has a BSc as well, and the Deputy Director of Training has a Doctor of Philosophy in Medical Sociology. And that is why, Chair, we had people even with the theology, because counseling, finding a way to talk to people. The trauma after some of this, especially you find somebody has been scarred for life. They have burns on their face, or they have lost a loved one. it is our responsibility as government to give care to them, even beyond the medical care. And now what our teams do, they do follow up. Even up to date, we are following up the Embakasi fire victims. They still come to our health center there. They have specific, we know them, we know their names, they have specific counselors, and many have had a great journey of recovery, but it's been difficult. Because you can imagine in an area where you live, you just see Mama Nani is walking and lost their husband, she's on a crutch. It's a very emotional thing. But our people, if you talk to them, have been able to help just carry the burden a bit lighter. Specialized operational capacity chair has been enhanced through urban search and rescue, as I mentioned, water rescue, and we'll be sending more teams to the coast, to Mombasa, for that. Hazardous material response, HAZMAT, incident command systems, emergency operations management. And part of what we require is the communication machinery. We had an issue of some donations that came to the county before I became governor, and they had been stuck at the ICD for the longest time because of demurrage and getting exemption for the tax. I'm happy that I consulted the minister as well as the president, and they agreed. I'm just waiting for the letter, but I told the chief officer, in the meantime, just pay. Because the longer these things stay in containers, your fire engines there, you know, you have, what do you have in that? The communication equipment, you know, for, yeah. So I told him to get it out as soon as this financial year kicks off, because it's not too much money. Chair, additionally, 4 officers have gone to international hazardous material training in South Africa, Slovakia, and Switzerland, significantly strengthening the country's technical capacity. We are pursuing the risk allowance to improve staff motivation, retention, and occupational safety. I gave directions, and the public service board is looking at it, because these people risk their lives, literally. When a fire happens here, everyone will run out. Then these ones will run in. You know, that person is operating in a very high risk environment, and they need to be compensated for that. To career, continuous professional development, we have established the Fire Disaster Management Simulation and Training Center of Excellence in Ruai, where I have allocated 20 acres of land. We have partial funding from KDSP, Kenya Devolution Support Program, and construction is expected to commence during this financial year as soon as we get procurement. Now, the adequacy of protective gear. We've progressively invested in modern firefighting equipment and emergency response resources to improve operational capability, of course with the limitations that we have. On firefighting and rescue equipment, we have 7 fire engines. Those are the big ones, that is in A, but in J, you see I've mentioned 5 other engines. That is Hino, Isuzu, and Giraffe. Those are smaller ones. We have 5 foam tenders. We need more of those. We have 7 rapid intervention vehicles. Those are the small capacity fire engines. They don't carry people. A real fire engine has personnel in the engine, not in the engine, in the truck. There's a place they can sit. There's the cabin, there's where there's water, there's where there is foam. That is the standard, the ideal. But these others, they just carry the extinguishing substances. We have a turntable ladder, 32 meter, it is 1. This is the one that is used to rescue people in apartments or in high-rise buildings. It is an expensive piece of equipment. 32 meters is high. We have 3 utility vehicles that are used for administration. We have 10 basic life support ambulances, and we are getting specialized ones in the.
Oh, this department only?
Yeah, this is not for health. This one are ring-fenced, or rather they are dedicated fully to disaster. When an ambulance goes, in fact, if you see one anywhere, you'll see behind it. I mean, when a fire engine is moving, you'll see behind it there's an ambulance. It must always be accompanied by an ambulance. We have 250 self-contained breathing apparatus and the refilling machine, so that they can have oxygen. A lot of the fatalities that occur is because of lack of, the ability to breathe when the fire happens. And so those who go into rescue must have oxygen and that self-contained breathing apparatus. We have 1 refilling machine. I would want to have more refilling machines at every station. every station should have the refilling machines where they are. For now, it is stationed, is it Kangundo or Elanga? Kangundo Road is where we have it stationed. Protective equipment, we have 114 of these structural firefighting suits. Remember I told you, Chair, we had 0 in 2022 when I came in. Now we have 114. Each of them is half a million. It's not, people think it's just at your baggy clothes. No, it's very specialized what they wear. From the helmet, the tunics, even the belts, the boots, specialized for firefighting. So we have 114. Ideally, I would want another, how much do you put for this budget? 50 million just for the yeah. Welcome. 50 million just for the additional PPs as we continue doing it.
Next financial year?
This financial year, yeah. Because you don't want a fire has occurred, a team has gone, and then another one has occurred. You don't want this one saying, let me wear Haji's kit to go and deal with this fire. We want every officer to have his, tailor-made to his size. For now, they share the 114. So finally, the frameworks for coordination and collaboration. We've established strategic partnerships here with national, regional, and international organizations. And for me, it's very embarrassing when I sometimes have to go and beg, because I have friends as a governor. I have a network of mayors around the world, and for many of them, once a fire engine has stayed for 4 or 5 years, they discard them. But for me, that is
you beg for those ones.
The mayor of London is my friend, and something organizing for us, Sadiqa, the former mayor of Manchester, because we sit in C40 cities on climate. I'm the deputy. Now has become the Prime Minister of the UK, Andy Burnham. We also have been working because we like those jurisdictions because of right-hand drive. Many of those who want to give you jurisdictions of left-hand drive from the US, Canada, etc., which will have a problem maneuvering here. So unfortunately, we have to ask, and beggars are not choosers. So we have collaborations with the UNDRR, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. They have a program of making cities resilient. It's formal. We have Conke Design Initiative, early warning systems and community resilience. We have, where is Somati? Somati is under? The ones who have donated the equipment that I'm releasing from ICD, and that donation was going to open up now a bigger, the Belgians, the Belgians would open a bigger donation to us. So I've listed them: Samuel Hall with Abiti Africa, Kenya Red Cross, Kenya Red Cross Society. Ideally, should just be given the function for disaster. They are the best. And you remember, Kenya Red Cross established under an act of parliament. The Red Cross is a statutory body, And so many times, and I remember my position when I was here in the Senate was like, instead of replicating, why don't you strengthen this institution that has been able to get a bigger pool of volunteers? There are many people who are walking in the streets doing their business, but in their car, they have a reflector and protective equipment. If something happens, they remove their suit and they become a Red Cross volunteer. That is a great framework to do. So we're happy with our partnership. IGAD as well, where our friend Mabub was on weather and climate information, as well as the meteorological C40 that I've mentioned. C40 cities is a network of 100 cities of a certain population on climate change. I'm the vice chair for Africa. It's chaired by Sadiq Khan for the Global North and Global South. Yesterday I was talking to the mayor of Melbourne, who wants to be one of the co-chairs. And unfortunately, when you have that discussion, you're also trying to see what can you get for your people. But God will help us. Finally, the Polish Center for International Aid. So, Chair, as I conclude, we've established the foundational infrastructure, human resource capacity, and institutional frameworks. We are not where we should be. There's much more that needs to be done. And we're looking for co-creation with Kenyans and Nairobians, so that we can have partnerships with resident associations, with the business community, with the industrialists, the manufacturers, because when these disasters, no one plans for the disaster, but when it happens without training and without preparedness, they suffer economic losses. And so that is what we pursue. We wish we could have more allocations. I think a conditional grant based on that spread that Senator Omugeni is talking about, that it's a concurrent function, national and county. If you look at the national budget on disaster, it's so high, yet it's the counties that respond to all the disasters. So why doesn't that money move to the county level of government? So Chair, I will leave it at that, and I'm ready for any questions from yourselves and submission.
Members, intervention?
Yes, very good presentation. Gives us hope that if there is a fire near where we live, Governor of Nairobi can come in and rescue us. Yeah.
That's nice.
He says expect to see him in 8 minutes, you say. Yeah. What is Now, what I didn't hear, Governor, is in terms of our urban fiscal planning,
Yes.
the way I see traffic, I just want to try this up with your 8 minutes.
Yes.
The way I see our planning in terms of our urban planning, roads and all this, I see some countries, they have a special lane, you know, where if there is a disaster, you can use that lane to go and respond. If you are leaving Nairobi through Jogoro, will you be able to respond within 8 minutes? And what are you doing to put that infrastructure in place? And then in the event that you know, you have an epidemic, people have been exposed to some chemical disasters. Do you have an isolation center where these people can be quarantined? Okay. Yeah. And the last time I had complaints about you don't have a committee on, is it approvals? Is it now in place?
You can check all of them. Yeah, so that you can explain at once.
Explanation of your preparedness in Nairobi, which is very encouraging.
And especially for those who are planning to be governors 2027, you should learn from here.
Yeah. So a lot of us we want to follow the footsteps of Governor Sakaja.
Okay,
you know.
proceed.
He has served in the legislative, then he went to the executive, so he knows a lot. Governor, I just want to know, as a county government, are you allowed to have an insurance cover against disaster? And if you are, is there one in place in Nairobi County? Secondly, during the March, April, May rains and flooding, there were a lot of loss of lives, property, damage to the roads, and a lot of that. I just want to know if there was any post-recovery financial assistance to the people who lost, or the victims who lost lives and property, the ones from Nairobi. You also did inform us that you did almost 58 safety drills in public and private institutions, in 10 schools, and so forth. I just want to know, in terms of financial terms, how much did this exercises cost, or how much does one drill exercise cost? I think my final question is, you did indicate on your, there's no number on this table, but I think page 5, utilization of financial resources allocated for firefighting services and disaster management. You have a line there, equipment of fire stations. Equipment of fire stations, yes, 26 million. Could you also inform us what specific equipments did this include? Those are my questions, Chair. I yield.
Thank you. Come on.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I'm seeing the governor is still lighting. Okay. Thank you very much, Governor. Governor, this committee have heard the measures that you have kept in place to see to it that at least you help the people of Nairobi in terms of fire disaster and any other disaster that might strike. Despite the financial constraints that we have noted that you are complaining about, there's an issue that I wanted you to address by Your Excellency the Governor. We have had a lot of frequent fire disasters at Gikomba Market. So I wanted you to tell this committee which measures have you kept in place to see to it that this disaster that has become a nuisance, and we are always seeing it on the mainstream media that the fire has struck in Gikomba or something like that. Which measures have you kept in place to curb these frequent fire disasters in Gikomba? That is my question number one. Number two, we have heard of issues of building that collapses in Nairobi. And in most cases, some fingers have been pointed on some officials of county government of Nairobi. I wanted you to explain to this committee whether any official have been found guilty of the offense, and if so, which measure have the government of Nairobi taken against that official? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Governor, you can respond to those ones.
Thank you, Chair. Those are really quality questions, very good questions. Let me start with the Senator Omugeni. Senator Omugeni is talking about the infrastructure and mobility, whether we can be able to achieve that 8 minutes as we are today. Jeff, fortunately, it is fortunate that there's no fire that's fortunate, but most of them happen at night. And so we don't have that much traffic at night. But moving forward, Chair, I think you saw on Tuesday that my cabinet approved the first ever metro underground system for Nairobi. Chair, this NMRTS, we call it Nairobi Mass Rapid Transit System, is the ultimate solution for congestion. You've traveled the world. Many places where you go to, you wonder where are people, because you don't see them and you know the population of that place. But the people are on the underground, because you have the rail in the core areas, and as you move outside the core CBD, it comes up. Now, Chair, this plan, which for me it's a huge milestone, because even when I was here, I kept saying the solution for congestion in Nairobi is a mass transit system. I have friends who are even billionaires in New York, but they don't own a car, because they know that the public transport system will be on time, it is regular, it is convenient. Now, for the city of Nairobi, it has been more than 80 years where this plan has been spoken about. Chair, in 1948, when the county planners were planning Nairobi, they said Nairobi would need a metro system. In fact, they drew up what we call a ring railway and CBD rail links. It was in the plan. In 1972, there was what we call the Urban Study Group, Nairobi Study Group. 1972, what we had called the Nairobi Metropolitan Growth Strategy provided for a mass transit system that has rail, has BRT, has NMT, all of those incorporated into one. It was never done. In 2014, the third one was Nairobi Integrated Urban Plan, new plan, provided even more details. It was never done. It was never done because the three ingredients were never thought of critically: the money, the institutional framework, and innovative transport-oriented development. Chair, we have worked on this for the last 3 years, together with the Executive Office of the President and Head of Public Service. There's Dr. Sylvester Kasuku, who was in charge of LAPSET before. And the document that we have today, and I'll be very happy to share with you, is so clear on the phase 1 of what we need. It's $7.78 billion. But the $7.78 billion has been broken down to different components of financing. Some is coming from the pension funds. Some will come from the transport-oriented development because of land value capture. Some of it will come from government, at least $3 billion. And we are now setting up a project management unit. So my cabinet had to pass the Nairobi underground core. And fortunately for us, all the studies that have been done, JICA have done the study, Chinese have done the study. In Nairobi, it is very easy to go down because not a lot of services are underground. We don't have much services underground. It's just water, a bit, and that's at low level. If you go just down here at this junction and you see what we have done, the crossing of Haile Selassie and Uhuru Highway, it was done in record time because it was easy to get the TBM, which is called the tunnel burrowing machine, to go down, to open up the space, and to build. You actually will end up having almost a city. Now, when I was talking to London Mayor, he said, we are jealous. Because if today, with the hindsight knowledge we had, if we were able to redraw, and it's like we have a blank canvas, if we're able to now do our mass transit system, we would do it completely different. Remember, in London, I think like the Euston station was done in 1836. The technology we have today, the knowledge we have today, so that is a solution, Senator Mogeni. A mass transit system. And we're going to achieve it. The BRT lines had been drawn, nothing was moving. I remember pushing for line 3, which comes from Dandora, Juja Road, coming all the way to CBD, going to Ngong. European Investment Bank came to see me when I became governor. French Development Agency, that's 74 million euros for us, and 314. But the National Cabinet had not approved. It took me 2 years to get Cabinet approval for the financing of line 3. And even after that, the financing request has still not gone. So you see, this one that we are doing now together, because we've passed it in our cabinet. Dr. Kasuku yesterday was the PSS of transport and of roads. We're going to take it now to the national cabinet because it's a joint effort. That is the one thing that will modernize the city. So as it is for now, Senator Mogeni, we have to grapple with the traffic that we have. However, in the BRT, because there are all these 5 lines, there's a dedicated line. The dedicated line where only public transport vehicles use are what the ambulances are also going to use and what fire engines are also going to use. On the issue of, so I hope I've explained. I think I want to write an article about this NMRTS because it is transformational. It is the one thing that Nairobi has been missing. God blessed us with location. You can be, and the international community has seen it. That's why everyone is coming here. UN have come here, UNICEF have moved. I was listening to another UN agency, they're moving their headquarters, Microsoft. Because Nairobi is central, God has given us location. From London, you're in Nairobi in 8 hours. From Amsterdam, you're in Nairobi in 8 hours. To go to New York is how many hours? 14. Yeah? Coming back is shorter. And we always joke it is because it is downhill. Mteremko, so the pilot anakanyanga clutch. But you come to Nairobi in 8 hours and then you get stuck for 2 hours in traffic. That is the problem. We're going to turn Nairobi into a 20-minute city. A 20-minute city is where you can go from any point to another point in 20 minutes. And so phase 1 is Eastlands. Eastlands to CBD with an underground that goes to Westlands and Upper Hill. Phase 2 will include Ngong Road and Langata Road because that is where you have a huge population coming from Ongatarungai and coming from Ngong. Because what we measure is the traffic per person, per hour, per direction, PPHD. The big loads are Thika Road, Juja and Jogo Road, as well as Ngong Road and Langata Road. Chair, that is what will transform our city. And I'm very excited that that's the direction we're moving to. We have the vision, we have the entire plan. We have looked at each and everything. Land value capture, where the stations are going to be created. People are going to, the value of land there goes up so high. And so I've put in a legislative plan for what goes to the assembly, betterment, transport-oriented development charges, etc., and how people can invest into it. There is what the national government needs to do. I have that list of items for them to tick off. In fact, today I thought once we finish where I was going, we'll now have that discussion so that national cabinet passes it. Because that is how, you cannot go to Singapore or first world without sorting out mass transit in Nairobi. Now, on the issue of approvals, Senator Omugeni and also Senator Lamu has mentioned, you remember when there was a building collapse in South Sea, and then after that, investigations happened. Then one of our officers was found with a lot of money. I suspended the entire approvals committee and withdrew what we call the urban UPTC, Urban Planning Technical Committee, to reconstitute it. Because that kind of money can only be found through bribes. When your system of approval is so subjective that if I want to build a 20-floor building on my avenue, I have to go look for Bram or SG and tell him, nisaidie approval itoke, nikupatie kitu. It is wrong. And so, in this intervening period, we strengthened what we've digitized as it's called Nairobi Plan, NPDMS, the Planning Development Management System. Just this morning before I came, I was in my office, I have signed the new letters for the Urban Planning Technical Committee. And what the Urban Planning Technical Committee does, Chair, PLUPA, the Physical Land Use Planning Act, gives the power of approvals to one person, who is the CEC. But because that becomes very subjective, I have created a committee that has residents from Kara, it has engineers from the association, it has a representative from Architectural Association, from the military, from Nairobi Water Resources Administration, so that you don't give someone an approval, then tomorrow come say you've built on riparian land, and someone has invested millions in a flat, then you say it's riparian. You know, that is really unfair. It is very unfair. So this committee is going to be constituted. Chair, and when I'm going to launch it in the next few days, I'm also launching the new development control policy. We've done a development control policy for the city, which tells you what you can build where. The city, imagine, from 1972 has never had local physical development plans. This is when we're able to do it. Sort of predictability. If you're the kind of person who likes a house with a compound and privacy, you know where to go build that house. You don't build that house in Kilimani, Kileleshwa, then tomorrow, like my house, if you come to my house, when I sit in my garden, there are flats, there's a flat there and there's a flat here, but I've stayed there from 2015. I'm attached to it. I don't want to move. But there's predictability because people want to invest in real estate in Nairobi. We said that we have to go up. Nairobi, we have to go up because 696 square kilometers does not expand. The challenge has been, are the services required to go up there? Water, sewerage, and the issue of traffic. Chair, on water, we've actually increased the capacity. People will tell you, I'm sure you have many colleagues who live in Karen who never had water from the county. Ruai, Utawala, Mihango, even Langata. We've increased by more than 160 million liters per day. Nairobi was receiving 525 million liters a day because of the four sources. Kikuyu Springs, 6,000 cubic meters a day. Ruiru Dam, built in 1928, that only used to give us, very little. Ndakaine, Sasumwa came later, 1956, gives us 60 million liters a day. And then Ndakaine, which gives us 84% of our liter, of our water. All of that, Chair, was coming to 525.6 million liters a day. The demand in Nairobi has been 900 and above million liters a day, growing by 4% every year. So, Chair, the first thing I did as governor was to say that we need to bridge that gap. Leave alone other issues of people infiltrating the lines. And we were able to unlock the Northern Collector Tunnel. It is complete. 140 million liters of water has come in additionally. So those who are getting water maybe once a week are now getting thrice a week or twice a week. Number two, we've saved 60 million liters a day by redesigning something in Gatundu North called, in Ngedu, we have Ngedu water treatment. We lose 30 million liters because when you do the filtration, what we call backwash filtration, the water goes back into the ground. We've done our reverse backwash at only, is it 5 billion, giving us more than 70 million liters a day, which is more than an entire Sasumwa Dam. Then from the National Infrastructure Fund, I'm the first county to actually make an application for the National Infrastructure Fund to fund Maragua 4 Dam. Maragua 4 Dam is going to add 180 million liters. So, Chair, in terms of water, we know how we're going to do it. In terms of sewer, we're doing a 54-kilometer trunk sewer. It is ongoing. It is not a plan. If you look along the river, Nairobi River, on both sides, there's a 1.8 meter by 1.8 meter sewer that will take the capacity for the next 50 years of Nairobi. We're going to do the same on Madari River and Ngong River. Now, what is left is the connections now from Kilimani or from Kileleshwa or from South Sea into those trunk sewers to be able to evacuate the sewerage, because your sewerage consumption is 75% of water consumption, production. We are also redoing Kariobangi North, Kariobangi sewer treatment. It does 30 million liters a day. We have a contractor on site who is going to add 60 million liters a day for it to be 90 million liters. So when we talk about the development control, we're not just saying build and then we'll sort out infrastructure later. We're doing it at the same time. But just because we have a new development control policy, for instance, CBD now, we're allowing you to go up to, is it 75 floors?
New building opposite.
Switch on your mic.
75 floors, you know?
Yes, the new building by NSSF is 75.
Over here in the CBD. Yeah. But the policy allows within this core.
Yes, Senator.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Since we're discussing preparedness and disaster management, you did inform us that you have a 32-meter turntable ladder.
Yes.
32-meter.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to hear that you said that with the only way for Nairobi to go is up.
Up.
Now 32 meters is only 8 or 9 floors.
So I need more.
You need more time. Do you have a plan for that? Because like now, right now, if this Bunge Towers 25th floor catches fire, how does your team get up there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's part of what we're saying in terms of the equipment we need, and if we sort out the resourcing, because that one turntable is very expensive. It is $2 million, you know, what we invested in one. And so if we say, since the county is doing more of the disaster issues, that money comes to the county, we're also exploring leasing. I'd explained I'm getting now 10 new engines on lease. One engine is 80 million shillings. But with 600 million, I'm getting equipment beyond even disaster management. On ambulances, 20 of them, I'm getting tippers, I'm getting through leasing. So that is one of the options that we have.
So you're getting let's say 60-meter turntable ladder. Is that in the plan?
What is in your plan? Is it 60 or what? 50. Yeah? Yeah, they are planned for a 50-meter one. But one is not enough. So I was saying this set of equipment must be in each barrow. So Senator Mugeni, the concern on a lot of challenges we've had in many areas is access. You know, you find a fire in Gikomba and the roads have been blocked. People have come in and they've built stalls. So the fire engine cannot even get to where the fire is. And so it's really daily persuasion for the people to open up those routes. We used to have fire hydrants in the city. The fire hydrants, people have built around them. And of course, you know, we don't like going to demolish people's structures, etc. And so we've recovered a lot of the fire hydrants, but there are still some notorious areas that we need to work on. The issue of the epidemic that was raised, we do have a quarantine facility at Mbagathi Hospital. It is up to standard. You remember during the COVID-19, when I was chairing the committee here, we asked counties to have isolation facilities. And the NMS at that time set up one in Mbagathi. They didn't conclude, but we are on it. And so if today there's an epidemic of Ebola or whatever it is, Nairobi, it would be ready to actually isolate anybody. And I have a daily dashboard where I see the suspected cases, which ones have been confirmed, which ones have not been confirmed. I'm happy to say so far there's not been any confirmed one in Nairobi. Senator Abdul, my friend, has asked about insurance. We have a few categories of insurance that we take as a city. Of course, there's a WIBA that we have. We have the medical. We have not yet done a fire insurance because, one, apart from our facilities, for our facilities they're insured for fire. But a general one, and
Those who are doing the firefighting.
there's the WIBA, the WIBA covers for them. But for other areas like, markets that are not necessarily county, there's, one of the principles of insurance must be insurer's interest. And so we're not able to cover that for them, but we're encouraging Nairobians to actually take that kind of cover. If you have a business somewhere, that's what I hope that's what you're asking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on the same line, what about markets which are owned by the county?
Yeah.
Do you insure the building and business inside?
So the formal markets that are built up have insurance as part of our assets, the same way as my office and City Hall has. It's all in the same cover. The informal markets is what has been difficult. And so you find actually the lesson that has come out of Gikomba, they have now embraced moving into the built-up modern market, toy market as well. Because, we told them how you are, we can't protect you in terms of insuring you. We can't insure that building. Unfortunately, Block D and C went down when this fire happened. We are pursuing it, but meanwhile we are building. We are building for them. And I want to thank the Rivers program because we've gotten resources to build along that area. There was the issue of flooding. We lost lives. I had explained earlier that in this March rain, which was the heaviest ever, we were fortunate we could have lost so many more lives if we had not evacuated people in 2024 and 2025. And I know there was hue and cry when we moved people, especially along Madare River and Ngong River. We're happy that we maintained that riparian. And now we're going, I think some of you saw me marking the wall in State House. Because State House is also on riparian. The external wall is on Kirichwa. And when I told the president that I have issued a notice, he said, please, can you demolish of course we can't demolish it immediately because we must first do another perimeter inside and then demolish it. But we've marked it with WRA. This riparian is important because we complain about flooding. I keep giving an example of some of my friends in Oleodume. In Oleodume Road, let me not say the estate, the flooding was near, it was so high, the appliances were messed up. And so because I saw a lot of noise on social media, I decided to go and look at it. So when I entered that court, chair, of course the public were like, compensate us, this has happened to us, etc. So I thought, how comes it's flooding? So I went round and I saw they themselves built a wall that diverted the river. So I told them, guys, I have a solution. We just remove this wall. You should have heard them. They say, oh, no, it's okay. In fact, it flooded in 97. It has flooded before. Just leave us with our wall. You can't have your cake and eat it. You can't. I personally have property somewhere where I have lost a few meters as a governor. My own place, But you can't expect to. The river will always find its course. Look at Brookside. Yeah? That road, we do it every year. Because people have built on the river. They have diverted the river. But when the river floods, it remembers its course. At Westgate, I've had to decommission an entire parking. Because they have diverted the river and they have canalized Kibagare River into a small like this size. Today, if you go and see what we've opened up, the river is flowing. It even looks happy. It is, thriving. That work must be done. So people thought we were only doing it downstream, where, in Eastlands, we're coming up to Lavington, Kileleshwa, Kilimani. You cannot, what is good for the goose must be good for the gander. So we're doing both.
Governor,
let me wind up.
There is somebody who is asking.
Yeah.
The pavements you have created.
Yes.
Within CBD.
Yes.
Has impact assessment been done? Or is it a recipe for flooding? Especially draining into the drainage?
The pavements, and we're doing a lot of pavements, Chair, because a city is about walkability. And creating open spaces and having outdoor restaurants because of that experience. Chair, we are not doing it on an ad hoc manner. We have engineers. There are a lot of drains. I wish I could send you the photos of how blocked what do you call them? The gully pots. And we really must talk to citizens. There's a place where we open a gully pot, you find a mattress. A mattress has been put inside. And you wonder surely what is happening. Or people dumping into those galley pots. So we've been doing it. It's continuous. Today they have reached, today they're at OTC. They've done, even outside this parliament. But the cabro that we're doing, drains into those galley pots, but we also need an even surface. Today, Chair, you can walk from Haile Selassie to the university without dust on your shoes. In fact, now the fight I have is with shoe shiners. They're saying now I'm running them out of business. Because and come to town on Sunday, you see young people have come in their numbers, they're taking photos, they're taking videos. It's an experience, but we'll make sure it's not a recipe for flooding, because we also need natural ways of absorbing the runoff and absorbing the water. And so if you look at it, you'll see every few meters we've put provisions for planting trees. We're bringing grown trees. Chair, let me finish there. There's the issue of utilization of fire budget. The specific equipment, I think we can be able to provide that, as well as what Omogeni asked for on the 60 million. But the budget is not enough. How much is the drill?
Drill would cost just hiring the fire engine and the ambulance, so about 20 million shillings. I mean 20,000 shillings.
20,000.
Should be able to have a basic drill.
Yeah, and we want to encourage business owners and people who have more than 50 people in your premise to apply and do the drill and come for training. Yeah. The county will be able to provide that. Finally, Senator Lamu, the issue, on the floods, we could not give financial assistance. We were not able to, apart from it being expensive. It will not be sustainable. There's what the national government was able to do for those who they relocated. I think 10,000 per household, but the county didn't have the resources at that time.
Sorry, to take you back on the drill issue.
Yeah.
Have you ensured that all county buildings and national government buildings, because there are so many in Nairobi, are equipped with the bells or the alarm, the fire alarms, and do you also conduct drills with them?
It's been difficult with the national government. Have you made success?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. We under the disaster risk reduction program, we have 4 flagship programs. One is commercial and industrial safety, which we're just rolling out, which includes an inspection of all the commercial buildings, starting with the CBD, as well as the industrial area. So that will be addressed. We can look at the dry risers, which can address the high-rise buildings, as well as extinguishers, emergency exits. And the intention is to train fire marshals in each building to take the lead in case of any disaster. The second program is safety in schools that you're also running with. We also have the SATs that His Excellency has talked about in the low-income settlements to set up the community emergency response teams. And the last one is what you're calling the domestic safety. Particularly in these upcoming buildings, affordable housing, the Kilimani areas, we're just looking at safety in the household, including first aid for children, choking, fire, and etc. So there's a comprehensive program that under His Excellency's watch, we are rolling out to address that.
Governor, you might want to consider penalizing the national government buildings for not being compliant towards disaster response and having the necessary equipment.
Not just... On top of that, even accessibility for people living with disability. We have a CAB standard on how public buildings need to be. That is certified, ISO, and many of them are not compliant. So we might have to go that way. But I'm grateful, Bram, you've reminded me. I instructed my team, together with the County Director of Education, to do a thorough analysis of all boarding schools in Nairobi to see whether they are properly, especially the dormitories, whether they have firefighting equipment, they have CCTV exit route, what happens in case of a fire. And we found very many not to be compliant. When that exercise is done, I will publish the findings that our fire department is doing with our county directorate of education. Because when you leave your child in a boarding school, that's the safest place you think they will be. Imagine getting that call in the morning, being told, please come to school. It's the most... My children in a day school, but when I see the school calling, I can even take off from this meeting. Because as a parent, you're like, what has happened to my daughter or to my son, And so we're going to issue the list. Fortunately, we don't have too many boarding schools in Nairobi, around 65. That analysis should be done pretty soon. And to give the standard that if you're building a boarding school, public or private, this is the number of children in this size who you can have. If it is X square feet, these are the number of beds you can have. There must be an exit that is different from the entry. There must be a fire alarm. There must be, and these days, they are not expensive, these things. Before, you know, a fire, the smoke sensor was a lot of money. These days, with 2,000 bob, you can get a smoke sensor, you know. You can get a sprinkler system. Now, the modern buildings that are coming up have implemented a lot of, if you go to GTC, if you come to CBK pension that we're seeing over there, they have implemented that. Gikomba market. I'm very passionate about Gikomba market. From the time I was in this house, I explained earlier the causes of the fires there. One had been illegal connections, which we have been able to deal with. Two had been insurance chasers, which has gone down. And unfortunately, now many of them are not being covered. But three was a land issue. And with the NLC, because there were speculators saying that this land is ours, I told them, anybody holding a title to Gikomba, that is a piece of paper. That land belongs to the county government of Nairobi. And we made progress with the NLC in actually getting our title. We've done the survey, we have the PDPs and all of that, because that is the major issue. But the ultimate solution is creating a modern market. Because the modern market that is in a building is harder to, you know, have a fire spread than where you have, you know, Gikomba has many categories. Kuna watu ya samaki, watu wa nguo, there is Gikomba ya mbao on this side. And these are people I know. You know, Mbao is Karanja, is chairman, Fish is Oimba. And I keep telling them, you guys, can't you see why you want to do a modern market? It was very unfortunate. Politicians went to incite them against moving. But now, try and tell them not to move. They will chase you. Because they have seen the loss themselves. Mechanics in Gorogon were being told not to move. Today they're saying, please, Sakaja, when are we able to move there? Because they lost, they saw their colleagues dying in vehicles, stuck, you know, because they're on the river. So for Gikomba, the modernization is the ultimate goal. Right now there's a block going on, day and night. It should be done within the next 4 or so months. That will be able to take up huge capacity. The block C and D that you know, we lost because of the fire, the structural integrity was bad. We've had to bring them down to build now a bigger block. So you know, I know there's people like a market where you can see everything from end to end, but Gikomba is so big now that so long as we categorize who is on what floor, we'll be able to have a very, very good market. Same as Toi. Toi, the problem had been the perimeter. Some people had entered and encroached and had land inside. We agreed we were going to fence the place. And the traders themselves actually designed how they want the market to look like. There they have a bit more space, so it will not be many stories. An ideal market, you should be able to see the end from where you are, have air circulating, have a high ceiling, water, electricity. That is a market that you live and enjoy. You know, if you look at the Turkish souks and the markets that we have there, because many of the ones which have been done previously here are not markets, they are malls. And people don't want malls. If you want a mall, you'll go to Sarit Center. Oh yeah. People want a market where you can see the vegetables here, you can see, you know, it's an ecosystem. Finally, the building collapses. And I need your indulgence on this, Senator. The county is the planning authority. If you come to me today and say that you want to build a building of 10 floors, and in your application, the application is done by a physical planner or an architect. There is also your engineer. You have brought your drawing designs and everything is in order. I will give you an approval through that committee that I said is collegiate, that has external people, internal people. Now, when you get your approval, the professionals, Senator Mogeni will tell you what it means for him to be held to professional standards by the LSK. The engineers have an engineering board. The architects have an association. QSs etc. They sign an indemnity form absolving the county if they make a mistake. Because the county cannot be in every building, in every mjengo, when they're doing the slab. The county can't be there. But you have on record a licensed engineer who must make sure the ratios are correct. You have a licensed architect. So what we do is random inspections. Now what happens with many people, and this one I have a fight to the professional bodies, because when I asked them, they refused. I said, many people, yeah, like Kinyanju here, will want to get an approval. So you look for an architect, an engineer for the sake of getting the approval. Once he gets the approval, he fires the professionals. So anajenga na a foreman. Ongeza hapa, sijui panua pande. So he is no longer adhering to the standards he applied for. We have no way to tell. But we wrote to these professional bodies. In fact, I think I'm the one who wrote. Not the CC. I wrote, I said, listen, tell your members, if in the course of construction after approval, if they're removed from the site or from the project, they must inform their professional body that I am no longer the consultant, architect, or engineer on this building in Westlands, so that the county knows that there is no professional or who has been put in there, and we stop the construction. Because the county is not omnipresent. There's a building that collapsed in Karen. The person was using, when he was doing the first slab, he was using bamboo sticks. Bamboo sticks to prop it up. Unfortunately, people died. And I'm happy. On that one, on South Sea, the person who has been charged the most is a developer and his professionals, for manslaughter. They had applied for increased height. We did not give them. They went on, used substandard materials. But you see, if you're charging my officers who did their part by giving you the approval, it is unfair. In fact, they also charged professional bodies whose work is really to just give advice. They're not executive. The representative from the resident associations, what does he have to do when somebody increases his height? The representative from KCAA, who actually said that we cannot allow those 2 extra floors. Why would you charge that person in court? Because they gave their professional opinion. And the approval for extra floors was not given. The problem we have has been, we take these people, we took them to court twice. You take them to court, and they're given a fine of 5,000 shillings. What is 5,000 shillings and you're building 20 stories? So, Senate, we have many places for you to help us. Chair, I've spoken for long.
Thank you.
I yield, but I just want you to understand that we are doing the best we can do to make sure we have a city that is world class and that people follow rules. But people have their part to play. It is not all on Sakaja and the government. All of us in our different areas have a part to play and will transform the city, Chair.
Thank you very much, Governor Sakaja, for this wonderful and lengthy presentation. And I'm sure it was live. Was it live? Yes, it was live.
I appreciate the good work you're doing. Yeah. But I hope you can rethink this policy of Nairobi growing vertically other than horizontally.
Sorry?
This idea of Nairobi growing vertically, this idea of approving many stories. Yeah, I'm a victim like you. I used to enjoy living in Kileleshwa.
Yeah.
The best address I've ever lived in Nairobi.
Okay.
But, the approvals were given all around
Around your house.
Yeah,
and I had no option other than to move because there was no privacy. I think if we don't exercise some caution, we will completely overstretch the facilities around those estates. I wish you can go and rethink that policy. If you visit people abroad, guys stay very far away from the city center.
Yeah.
But because there is good transport, they have no big issue.
And that's exactly the
And
point.
if you are connecting us with this underground train, I think you should discourage these high-rise buildings. Then people can settle away from the city. There's a lot of land surrounding Nairobi where people can settle. We can have beautiful estates away from Nairobi. Maybe I'm not saying you discuss today, but as your former colleague, I plead that you go and rethink that policy.
You see, the problem is nostalgia, because today Nairobi has 5.5 million people at night. By 2050, we'll have 10.5 million people. In physical planning, there's a concept called urban sprawl. Urban sprawl, or urban decay, is where somebody is living in Ruai, wants to drive all the way to take the child to Riara school on Ngong Road and go to the office in Westlands. They're losing 3 hours. But compact, densification has been seen as the best solution at the core. Now, if we give you the proper zones and tell you, over here, like in, Muthaiga, Karen, certain areas, we will not go beyond 2 floors. Let it be implemented like that. So that you know that if I am going, my house is on Dennis Pritt Road. I used to really love my compound. I don't know if you've come there before. But now, even you can find you're staring into someone's eyes across there. They're looking at you. When I became governor, security told me I have to move. The national security. They said, someone can just be there. But I because of the nostalgia of where I live, I've been there from the time I was an MP. I love it. So it's a debate we can have at some point. You'll be shocked. If I ask you today, what is the greenest part of America in terms of climate, of emissions? If you look at the thermal map of New York, the green dot is actually Manhattan. Manhattan has the tallest buildings, the biggest population, but because of densification, there is very little emissions. There are fewer vehicles. People walk from one place to another. That's why we're doing the NMTs. It is actually the greenest place. You can Google that, And so right now, we're looking at issues of climate, etc. People driving from Thika to go all the way to, Langata should not be encouraged. But we can have that discussion. It's a planning philosophy question, and here I have planners who know it. But the issue of rooting out corruption for me is 100%. That system, yesterday I was talking to a very senior lawyer in the evening. He had applied for partitioning in his office, just at GTC. He applied in April. And I had said, all of these uncontroversial ones must be done. And he said he has not gotten it. I said, why haven't you gotten it? Because, and I had to call my chief officer, I called Mutegi, and I called another gentleman. And I said, okay, he will help this person, but how many people have the number of the governor? It should not be that you know the governor, that you get your approval. But it should be system-based, and that's why we're strengthening that system. So early next week, I'm going to launch the new Planning Technical Committee, the new rules, the path towards physical development plans. I was replying to a letter from AAK this morning because they've raised those concerns, and I agree with them. Why we had stopped it as I finish, we had gotten money from MCC, Millennium Challenge Corporation, that was to help us do the 16 zones local physical plans. Now, the new administration in the US came and halted that money because it was, I think you saw us signing with the president in New York. It was going to do the full spatial and physical development plans for Nairobi instead of doing one by one. Now that we've lost that money, we'll figure out a way together with the national government to have it. So you have predictability. For the next 60 years, this area of Ruai will look like this. Or this area of South, then you plan where you want to live. This CBD has many buildings that, I need to tell someone, this place is supposed to have a 10-story building. Why are you having a 1-floor building on Moy Avenue? And it's the core of the city. And there's precedents. There are many cities that have done that. They've told them, now, in this place where you are, you have 5 years to redevelop it into what you require. If you're not able to do that, then we will give you another piece of land and we will take it over. There are places like in New York where if your building is 10 floors and you have a view, you can buy the air above your neighbor's building. It's called air rights. So that your neighbor will never go beyond where your view is. And you buy it from the city. So there are many ways that this can be done, Chair. And I hope God will give us the time to explore them because this city won't work on its own. Lazima work with our concerted efforts, Chair.
Thank you very much, Governor. I'm sure we've taken a lot of time, but in the process we have learned a lot as a committee and also maybe as a country for those who are watching and other counties. There is one last one maybe you don't need to answer, anti-littering policies and discipline. You need to put in place, especially you see in other jurisdictions you have dustbins that are placed in different places. That will help you actually to stop the issue of drainage blockage. Then there is something on whether you have an AI for disaster preparedness. You will look at that with the current development of AI. I think for us as a committee and yourselves, maybe we need to look at legislative proposals as far as amendment to the current act is concerned, and the regulation and the policies once it is passed.
And if you allow me to give you proposals, I'll be very happy, because you know I like
Put
legislation.
it in writing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have some
Thank you.
thoughts.
We'll appreciate that.
You also do something on your own second schedule, paragraph 5. No, even on traffic.
Yeah.
Because I see traffic policemen in the city, yet when you see the sharing of functions, it says count traffic should be your function, and county roads. So
You know what I'm waiting for? Maybe I shouldn't say
you can
it.
put something comprehensive,
Yeah.
maybe with
Let me
COG.
not blow.
Because we have amendments to the Roads Act, and I think it's really encroaching into
Into county
your
functions.
functions.
Completely.
Yeah. So we
Even
need to
these
work
fines
to-
that are being collected
Yeah.
on county roads.
Yes.
That is county
So
money.
let's work together.
I think
to
even
strengthen.
the application and approvals of your licenses and all that,
Yeah.
you need to do them, automated, so
Yeah.
that people don't congest themselves at the city hall, and that will be transparent
Chair, can I tell you?
manner in which,
Can I
you are
tell you?
handling those things.
Because of
And also
digitization.
reducing the manpower.
Because of digitization, we collected 15.4 billion this last financial year. It's a record. No county has gone above 15. 15 was a ceiling. When I became governor, I found on-source at 8 billion. Meaning I've increased on-source revenue by 92.5% in the city. Now the challenge is that even that 15.4 billion, if we add what the Senate graciously gives us, of around 20 billion, is still not enough to change the city. Because of the 20 billion, your disbursement schedule gives me 1.6, 1.7 a month. But my salary alone is 1.5, leaving me 200. Everything else you see being done in the city is from collections, is from Mama Mboga. That is why, because the bulk of those who don't pay is property taxes. And property taxes account normally for 80% of any city that is there, that is a capital. Yesterday I had an entry meeting with the Nairobi Revenue Authority. They have engaged now auctioneers. Those who've defaulted 3 years and above, they have been given a list. Because you cannot own land in this city, you don't pay your rates. Yet you, the one who complains the most when you get a pothole. You complain the most when there's no water. Yet the small person, Mama Mboga, is paying 50 shillings every day at Wakulima. Where is it really equitable that the rich are the ones not paying, the poor are paying, the rich are complaining? So we've engaged 6 auctioneers in the 6 boroughs. And it's Nairobi Revenue Authority. If somebody comes to me, you can't call me, I can't help you. Because you've followed the National Rating Act that I hail you guys, you Senate for passing the National Rating Act. And their target by December is to get 30 billion. We've given them properties worth 60 billion. And that is just step 1. Because the services we want for us to be a world-class city. I was the mayor of Paris here, Anna Hidalgo. She asked me, Sakaja, what is your budget? I explained it, around 40 billion. So when I translated, she looked at me like I'm a ghost. I asked her, why, what is your budget? She said her budget is equivalent of 1.3 trillion. And a city has 2 million people. 2 million people, 1.3 trillion. I have 7 million people with a budget that just makes me a glorified cashier.
Also look at the earning capacity of those people. Maybe the
No, but you see, the people who are paying in Nairobi today are the ones of the lowest earning capacity. Because if you have 2 acres of land in Westlands,
The rich are evading.
and let me give you an example. An apartment block. You have an apartment block where rent maybe is 100,000. Do you know the rates for that apartment block is not more than 20,000 shillings? Someone is paying you, and not per month, 20,000 for the year. Someone is paying you 150,000 shillings. You don't want to pay the county 2,000 a month. Is that really equitable? But you want outside there, your roads fixed, your potholes fixed, whatnot, how will it be paid? So even though we did a new rating, valuation rule, we have not, it is 0.01% of the value of your property. Surely, you can't say can't pay, and yet you want services in the city. We're talking about drainage. People are saying, Sakaja, remove dimples on the road. You put dimples. How will I remove them? I can only remove them when we pay and get those services. That's why I'm happy, Chair, as I finish. When we had an exercise of evicting people, which I hate to do, but there were people who, you imagine a house in Woodley on half an acre, 3-bedroom, rent is 17,000. 17,000, half an acre. And somebody has a bill of 5 million. Meaning they've lived there for more than 10 years without paying a shilling. And so when we did it, the estates today, there is no default. If you go to Jamhuri Estate, there is no one who has defaulted. Go now to Makadara, some of them. And so I'm now painting the houses for them, redoing their compounds, and I tell them this has been paid for by your money. Because people want to see where the value for money is going. We've put the bins, Chair. But I think we have a psychological problem. Because now people are using litter bins to bring all their garbage from the house. The litter bins are for litter as you're walking and whatnot. But you find someone has put his whole sack. Now they will not pay. They put them next to my very beautiful, there's some even outside here, litter bins. You know, so
we are concluding.
Yeah.
So Governor, the application, approval, all those ones.
Yes.
You need to do something about it so that it's not manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is transparent. It's easy. So I think maybe you need to look into that.
Yes.
And again, income generating activity. You can create an income generating activity out of this.
Yes.
So that you can do training, capacity building. You know, you have your own, center of excellence.
Of excellence in drawing.
Yeah, for that.
Yeah.
Then the issue of budget. It's difficult. But I think proper utilization of whatever is provided. And I think we have agreed we need to call national government to see whether they can be able to complement
And to
what
see
you are
some of
doing.
the resources. Yeah.
So maybe we'll invite you when they are coming so that we can agree and also amend the legislation so that they can chip in something before maybe we finalize our term here.
Yeah.
Then procurement, that is an area that we have found there's a problem. It should be transparent and adhere to the law and policies that are available. Purchasing of the equipments, I'm sure you are saying you are resorting to lease.
Leasing, yeah.
And that we need to have value for money.
Yes.
Then congestion in the city.
Yes.
You see, in other jurisdictions, you have a lane for bicycles, buses, private vehicles. I'm sure once you do the underground tunnel, that will be able to decongest and also give you proper service.
For sure.
Basically, that is it. We are really very happy, and I'm sure maybe other counties should be able to learn from you and see how they can implement. Of course, planning for the purpose of emergency, as you said, and blocking, the areas that you really need intervention whenever the ambulances are supposed to rush and pick somebody and all that. Maybe you need to look into that. But we'll be able to look at your report and see how we can be able to improve or maybe look at it properly. But I think other counties should learn from you because we have covered a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and especially the emergency lines that are there. That will be also dependent on the budget available to those counties. We'll communicate to you maybe when we can come and see some of your emergency centers that you have created and what you have done for the purpose of learning. And I believe we have come to an end of this meeting. We really appreciate, and I'm sure everybody is happy about it. For the state, thank you very much, Governor and the team, and also our Secretariat. We now adjourn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. It is always a pleasure. Mbarikiwe sana.